Three uncapped players, no Kuldeep Yadav, and most importantly, no Mohammed Shami. The suspense is over, and India have named an 18-man squad for the Border-Gavaskar Trophy in Australia. On ESPN Newsroom, we are joined by Nagraj, Gollapudi, and Raunak Kapoor to dissect this 18-member squad. We have to begin with the biggest blow to India's hopes. Everyone had been waiting on Mohammed Shami's return to international cricket. That's not happening, and as a result, Nagraj, it's a unique pace bowling mix that India have gone with.
Yeah, I mean, Shami not being there in a Border-Gavaskar Trophy, he has been integral part of India's overseas victories, including Australia last time. So clearly, that is a massive, massive mix. But I think it's not also come as a surprise because Shami has not played since November 19, 2023, the World Cup final in Ahmedabad. We know that he has been struggling with different ankle injuries, etc., which flared up again and kind of delayed his comeback. Though he remained optimistic, I don't think you can take a half-fit fast bowler, especially in Australia, without any kind of match fitness behind him. So, but I think for me the bigger headline news is the boldness shown by the selectors in including two young all-rounders, two 21 and 22-year-olds, and Nitish Kumar Reddy and Harshit Rana. The readers and the followers, the fans might think that these are white ball guys, but these are guys that selectors have. I think Raunak will attest. He's also in touch with the right the right people. He will tell us more. Is the selectors have kept eye on these two guys. They want to nurture these young all-rounders for the future. And I think while it might come as a very bold and very kind of which could keep India's or possibly bowling make it look a little vulnerable, but I think it's a good move and a good kind of direction that selectors are taking, I feel.
Yes, take us into those selections, Ronak, because Harshit Rana and Nitish Kumar Reddy are going to stand out from the outside. There is a third uncapped. We'll come to that later in Abhimanyu
Sure.
Easwaran. But the mindset behind these two selections.
Well, firstly, I think credit to the selectors in terms of not being affected by what's happening in the moment. And that's, I guess, expected. You can't be swayed by the results of what's been an outstanding performance by New Zealand here. Let's be fair, when we saw the home season name, we were almost already looking ahead to Australia. A number of us were. But that's how you need to plan. And I think great credit to them for firstly what they did in terms of redesigning the Duleep Trophy, where you had 40 to 45 of India's best first class players in action with the intent to look at potentially certain positions like the seam bowling all-rounder who can bat come Australia. And Harshit Rana did his chances no harm there. Nitish Reddy, both of whom are two players whose stocks continue to be on the rise. So I think credit to the selectors where they actually gave themselves a plan and a vision that the Duleep Trophy might play a bigger role in us deciding who is that seam bowling all-rounder or that seamer who can bat come Australia, because we may not get an idea of that in the home tests. And I think that's where they've gone with Nitish and Harshit as exciting options, as against, say, going back to a Shardul Thakur. So I have no problem with that. I think they're both players who will have their time even in this format, even though they're known as white ball specialists.
Forever, India overseas has looked for that seaming all-rounder because having a seam bowling all-rounder, we all know the advantage is that it kind of extends enlarges the batting lineup, extends the batting lineup, and at the same time gives the specialist fast bowlers a little rest. And if the ball is doing something, that seam bowling all-rounder can do something. And like Rona pointed out, in the Duleep Trophy, you could see Harshit Rana and Nitish Reddy, and even in the Ranji Trophy, Nitish played one round. You can see where he's bowled. Check that. Both of them have bowled with a new ball. So the selectors have had a plan. And it is the Duleep Trophy spot that was picked by the selectors and not the zonal coaches, etc., as was in the past. So the selectors had a plan and they said that, okay, let's stick to this plan and let's kind of see if these guys show any promise, and then we can decide whether to let them. And now they have decided that, okay, fine, time has come for us to take that step.
The pacer who doesn't make the cut is Yash Dayal, who was part of the squad against Bangladesh, and you felt India wanted a left-arm seam option, especially for Australia. What explains that role not being a part of this squad?
Yash Dayal, in fact, was named, if you see, in even the India A squad, which is currently half of it is reached already and half will reach by tomorrow, I think, to play the two shadow tour, two unofficial tests against Australia ahead of the Border-Gavaskar Trophy. And it was a surprise move. Only earlier today, I found that out that Dayal is actually going to South Africa, as we've seen that the selectors have also named the squad for the T20 series in South Africa, where yes, they all will be going. So I think maybe probably they felt that in Akashdeep and they had a good ready third seamer. And Prasidh Krishna, actually, that's the guy we need to talk about. Prasidh Krishna,
Hmm.
there in South Africa tour last December, I think, and he played both the
Yeah.
test matches with his height and with his bounce, which is available on the Australian pitches, especially in Perth and I think Gabba. He will be a handy guy, so they might have felt that okay, along with Bumrah and Siraj, we have these two guys. We are the first four specialist fast bowlers, and then you have these all rounders.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think with the announcement of the South Africa T20I simultaneously, that's almost giving us the only time we get some information as to who's actually being monitored for long-term illnesses, who or injuries, who's at the NCA, who's unavailable due to injury. So I guess there's always going to be some information that we don't entirely know. There's perhaps a reason why Yash Dayal is part of the white ball squad in South Africa and not in the plans for the Border-Gavaskar Trophy. So yeah, just adding that point over there, we thought Mayank Yadav might be an outside the box, exciting option to take there, even if he's effective for one or two tests or is fit enough for one or two tests. But these are the kind of things that unfortunately we're not privy to as far as information goes. So I'm sure when it comes to these calls, they've just gone with who they believe is going to be an asset or valuable for a long 5 match test series.
Yes, I guess there will be further dissection on just the lack of experience in the pace attack as we get closer to the test series. Worth reminding, though, that the lack of experience in the pace attack didn't seem to affect India too much the last time they were in Australia. On the spin front, Kuldeep Yadav misses out with a groin injury. Bodes well for India that Washington Sundar turned up and how as he replaced
Yeah.
Kuldeep in the second test against New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, that perhaps tells us also that maybe Washi for Kuldeep was not just a selection call. Maybe it was, not saying it wasn't.
Yeah.
But if Kuldeep Yadav is indeed nursing a chronic injury, then that's also one reason why India have gone that way. Washi could do his chances. Like, he couldn't have dreamed of a better comeback. If Washi goes none for 40 odd and gets 7 or 10 with the bat, who knows if India even decide to send that extra spinner. There's no real diktat on the size of the squad when you go for a long series away to Australia. But the fact that he's performed this well, timing sometimes is everything. And I think both Washi, to a degree, even Sarfaraz Khan, I mean, I was bitterly hoping that no, there's no reason why Sarfaraz shouldn't go to Australia. But when they didn't pick him at the start of the home season, I felt like, oh, okay, maybe there's a chance he may not go with the team. Then he'd only be considered for home test. Or if there are too many batters, Sarfaraz may not find room. So both of them have just shut all those conversations out. So yeah, I guess that's what you need to do in Indian cricket right now. You need to peak at the right time when you take your opportunities. And who knows, in a 5 match series, I don't think Ashwin's ever played a 5 match series before.
That's right.
Jadeja has his own challenges with injuries at this stage of his career, missed the last and didn't complete the last tour to Australia either. So Washington Sundar might very well have a role to play in Australia for the second tour running.
Yes, and most of the rest of the squad wears a familiar lineup. If you think of the batters in particular, Dhruv Jurel is the second keeper, but Abhimanyu Easwaran. It was always going to be an important factor because of the reports that Rohit Sharma is set to miss the first test. Nagraj, right call with Easwaran getting rewarded for his domestic performances?
Yeah, I think I don't know about the right or wrong call, but I think the selectors pondered over that because they had other options too. They had Ruturaj Gaikwad, they were watching Sai Sudarshan, who's a left-hander, but I think Rohit Sharma possibly not playing in Perth based on we still don't know, but there is a question mark over him, his availability for the first test in Perth starting November 22. The selectors might have thought, okay, let's go with a regular guy and someone who has a little bit experience. Although they have in Shubman Gill and they have in KL Rahul two options within the squad if they want to, but then that kind of changes, I feel, complicated, not complicates, but that kind of changes the batting lineup once again just for one test. They might have thought, okay, let's have this guy, and if we want to play him, we can always play him. And Easwaran, funnily enough, has been around for such a long time. He's 29 years old. He's about to play his next first class game, which will be the first test against Australia A, will be his 100th first class game. He has about, just looking at his numbers, 7,000 odd runs, 2,700. So he has all the numbers, he has all the experience, he's ready, he has been ready for a while now. So I think if he gets the chance, that's it. I mean, I think it's a long, long wait for him. So yeah, not a surprise about Easwaran being the third opener.
And all that experience, Raunak, that Nagraj points out is the counter to any arguments of, oh, how can you have a test debutant at Perth? Because this is a man with a serious body of work.
And again, like I brought up Sarfraz and Washi, sometimes it comes too late, the opportunity. Easwaran would have felt like he's done enough to earn his test cap sooner. But we've seen the kind of players that at times debut in Australia and take their chances in the most difficult conditions. So an opportunity will present itself when Rohit Sharma misses the first test, which looks like it's almost in all likelihood, unless some plans change. And with the result of what happens in this New Zealand series, if that changes, we'll find out. But assuming there's no Rohit Sharma, would you displace Shubman Gill for the one test? You've had quite a bit of conversation on KL Rahul's just focusing on his new number. So is he going to be put up there, or will you put a guy who's made a reputation and has become a bit of a bank as far as runs at the top of the order go, and just throw him in the deep end at Perth? I actually think I hope it happens for Easwaran, and I hope he actually gives the selectors a nice selection headache by proving to a lot of doubters that his time has certainly come with good reason, and perhaps this might be the series that we'll remember him for. So I hope he gets this opportunity. I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, it will be the third straight tour of Australia where India will have an opening debutant. Mayank Agarwal, then Shubman Gill the last time around. And now, for all you know, Abhimanyu Easwaran. Fine. We will keep it there. I'm sure the build-up is only going to keep continuing as we inch closer to the start of this test series on November the 22nd. Thank you so much, Raunak and Nagraj. This was ESPN Cricinfo Newsroom.